Hi, all. This is Rajat, founder of BreakingTrade.com. So, in today's session, we are going to learn the TPO count, how this TPO count can help you identify the movement of the market, especially in the last hour of the day. Okay, so this is a TPO count. So, you would have seen many times that market is not trading very much throughout the day, means the volatility of the market is quite low throughout the day, but in the last hour of the session, say after 2 p.m. or from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. there is a high volatility in the market, and market breaks one of the low and high set by it in the early day hours. So how this TPO count methodology of market profile can help you prejudge the movement of the market before it happens. Okay, so I'll start with the basic concept first. So guys, we have learned that other time frame buyers and sellers and local traders and sellers, local trader buyers and sellers. So I'll repeat this concept again in a more detailed way. So let's assume I say other time frame seller as OS. This is OS, which is other time frame seller, and I have one LB, which is local buyer. Similarly, I have OB, which is other time frame buyer, and I have LS, which is local seller. So how the trading happens never is that never open trade or other time frame sellers and the time frame buyers directly trade with each other. They do not trade with each other directly. Okay, this is not happens. What happens? Other time frame seller sells to local buyer, and similarly other time frame buyer buy from local seller. So I'm teaching you all these concepts of the trading and other time frame sellers and buyers so that you can understand what I will be teaching you, that why the market moves in the last hour of the session, so that you can know the basic fundamental of it. I will tell you more some formula based or some shortcut also, but it is important that you learn these things also. Okay, so understand like this: other time frame seller sells to local buyer, and other time frame buyer buy from local seller. So suppose this is a trading arena. Okay, and I have here local buyers slash local sellers, and here I have other time frame sellers and other time frame buyers. So what happens? Suppose other time frame seller want to sell 1,000 shares of say Reliance at rupees say 2,000. So local buyers will buy from them. Okay, and they will go to the trade bit and they will try to find the other time frame buyers who can buy these shares, and they will be selling to them at the say rupees 2005. Okay, so 2005. So this uh, little bit amount of 2000 difference between 2000 and 2005, that is 5 shares, they will make them as a profit of their own, these local buyers and sellers. So these will go to, they sell to other time frame buyers and they buy from other time frame sellers. Okay, so this concept is clear. Now understand this: whatever the trading arena I'm talking about, this is into the value area. Okay, so suppose I have this line. Okay, this is the POC, point of control, and this particular region from here, if I say from dot from above to dot till below. I have this value area. This is the VA. So in this VA, this particular thing happens that local buyers and sellers normally trade and exchange the activity. Now, second concept comes is that whatever the activity is done above the value, above the point of control, this POC is denoted by other time frame seller selling to the local buyers. So if suppose these are the TPOs here, say market open here and then market is going somewhere around, say these are the TPOs form. I say open here and these are the TPO form A, B, okay, B, then C, D, E, F, okay, G, like this. So whatever the activity is happening here, this activity is denoted by other time frame seller selling to the local buyers. So whatever the buying is happening is done by the local buyers and not the other time frame buyers. Because if other time frame buyers are really buying, then above the POC, above the, this is the fairest price, right? This is the fairest price which both the parties, buyers and sellers, think is that neither they are into the profit, neither they are into the loss. If something, some activity is happening above the fairest price, that means other time frame sellers are there who are keeping short, who wanted to be short even when the market is above the fairest price. And whatever the activity is happening here, say A, B, C, D, give it any TPU. So here whatever the activity is happening, it means other time frame buyers are ready to go long even when the market is below the point of control. So if I denote this one and this I denote as two activity, so here I would write one as, I'll take a new drawing here. Okay, so if I say one here, that is, this was my image, sorry. This is the POC, fairest price. This is the one, this is the two, and activity one, buying at one, buying here, buying above POC. So buying above POC means other time frame sellers are selling to local buyers. That means local buyers are buying here. Similarly, for activity 2, I would say other time frame buyers are buying from local sellers. So activity 2, local sellers are selling. Okay, so we identified activity above POC as local buyers are buying and below POC local sellers are selling, because if other time frame buyers would have been buying here, the market would have moved up, and if the other time frame sellers would have been selling at second point, market would have moved down. But market has been trading into the very congested range, means in a very tight range. Market hasn't moved anywhere throughout the day. It is moving into the value area only in a tight range. So these concepts apply when the market is moving in a tight range. Okay, now understand like that. Suppose at one point of time when the market begins to end, okay, there is only uh, hour left or half an hour left or maximum 1.3 hours, that is 1.5 hours are left into the market to close. So what happens, suppose here market is there and local buyers are buying. Okay, local buyers are buying from the other time frame sellers. So as I told you into the previous image, let me open that one too. side by side here. Okay. So this was the image. So here what happens when the local buyers are buying from the other time frame sellers and they search for the other time frame buyers. So what happens in this particular activity, other time frame sellers have sold to local buyers. Okay, now local buyers search for the other time frame buyers to whom they can sell to. Now if other time frame buyers does not come into the picture, local buyers inventory become too much overbought, means they have bought too much from the other time frame sellers. So what they do, they first cut off the supply from the other time frame sellers and they bring the price bit down, okay, to attract the other time frame buyers. But if still other time frame buyers do not come, they go on to a rampage and they start selling more, the price comes down. So takes for example, suppose uh, we have a match, we have a IPL match here, okay, and in that IPL match it was you know, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, all the Chennai crowd loves him. So it was decided that okay, Dhoni is playing, but suddenly a news come that Dhoni is unable to play due to injury. So what happened, there were some other time frame buyers, okay, and there are other time frame sellers in this also, and there are local buyers also and local sellers also. So other time frame seller is the ticket counter, okay, this is the ticket counter who sells the ticket, and local buyers are the bookies, not sorry, not the bookies, but the you can say people who earn from ticket by selling them into the higher price or by blacking them. Okay, so local buyers have bought thousands of ticket, okay, initially only that okay, when the match would be coming near to, then other time frame buyers would be coming, which are the audience, so they can sell them to at a higher price, say 1200, 1500, 1600, depends upon the demand. So local buyers have bought 1000 tickets of the Chennai IPL match, say Chennai versus Mumbai Indians, thinking that the audience would be coming in a large number and they will able to make some money by selling these 1000 tickets, which are a cost of say 1000 rupees, also at say 1200 rupees per ticket. So this was their plan. But when the injury news came, the audience were not there. There was no high demand of these tickets. People were not interested to view the match. So there were less audience in game. So they have already thousands of tickets. So what they will do? They will first try to bring the, now consider this other time frame buyers and local buyers now who have bought the ticket from the other time frame sellers, which is the ticket counter. They are not able to find the audience, which is other time frame buyers. So first what they will do, they will try to sell the tickets at loss or at even par. They will say okay, let's sell it at 950 rupees only, okay, whatever we can get out of it. But if still other time frame buyers are not coming, audience is not coming, so they will say okay, whatever the money we can get it from, we have to adjust our inventory, we have to remove this 1000 tickets, otherwise when the match will finish off, this 1000 rupees will become zero ultimately. Okay, so they will not able to sell it single, they will not able to earn it single rupee, plus they will bear the loss. So they will try to bring the ticket price more lower, say 900, 800, 700, 600, 5, 400, anything, so that this their inventory could be sold off. The same real time funda comes here. Hope you understood now. So when the local time frame buyers were buying from the other time frame sellers, and at the and then when their inventory was too much, they wanted to sell it off now, they was and they could not find the other time frame buyers, so they will first put the price down, they will cut off the supply, they will stop buying from the other time frame sellers. Okay, so they would be, first step would be they no more buying into the value area, no more buying in the value area. Okay, so into the value area there is no buying here, local buyers are not there, not interested to buy more. so price will automatically come down. Then second, they will think that okay, if other time frame buyers are coming into the picture so that they can buy their inventory, but if even if that does not happen, it will break the value area and all the buyers start to sell at whatever price they could sell, and there would be a quick down movement. So this example I'll show you in a real-time environment which I have shooted before into the live market, and you will see that particular thing. I'm talking about this example that you will learn. So this was the Nifty movement on 21st 0121. Okay, so here it was a tight range. See, market opened above at the gap up. That means market was imbalanced initially, since it was a gap up. Now, whenever there is a gap up, market try to finds gap, try to finds balance. So market was trading into this tight range, but it could not go higher also. Neither it was able to go down. So it was moving in a tight range, and it was waiting for movement so that market finally moved from imbalance to balance. So here it was imbalance. Okay, market opened into the imbalance state, not the balance state. So generally this happens after into the K session. That is after the 2 p.m. K, L, M, N are the important session where this particular movement happens. So how do we calculate in this particular thing? We say we have a POC. Okay, I'll show you one more image. Now the concept I have explained you. Now how to calculate these things I'm going to show you in a pic. Okay, so you understood the basic concepts. What is the fundamental theory behind it? Now I'm going to tell you how you can calculate all those things using the market profile charts. So let's open the new drawing again. So we have, first thing is that whatever the activity we take consider is above the POC and below the POC and into the value area. So activity to consider inside the value area. Okay, reference line is POC. Now second point is that we consider only the activity of local buyers and sellers. Since we are talking about the value area, in value area we have the activity of local buyers and sellers, and we do not take those TPOs which are formed by the other time frame buyers or sellers. So the TPO to be considered spelling of considered is wrong. So TPO to be considered are of only local buyers and sellers. So this single TPO, single print TPOs will not be considered. Third, the movement is mostly in last hour of the trade, last hour of the day, which means KLM are the sessions where it may happen. Now fourth, we will not include the POC line itself for calculation. So I'll show you one example again to help you how to determine it. So I gave you the example of movie ticket. I hope that is clear, because if you can relate to that particular, not the movie ticket, sorry, IPL ticket one, if you can relate to that example, it will be very easy to understand that how the inventory adjustment happens. All things are taken from the real life example only. So for this example, suppose this is the profile A I'm talking about, and we are talking about the session F here. Okay, so at this particular point, this is our POC. Okay, this is our POC here. So we will not count this particular line. This we will not count, and we will count the TPOs above it and below it. So above it we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 TPOs. And below it we have 21, 5, 5, 10, 10 and 9, 19 and 21. We will not consider these TPO since it's a single print. Similarly, we will not consider these TPOs for the same reason it's a single print. Means we will not consider the activity of other time frame sellers and other time frame buyers. Okay. So right now, if we see at this particular moment, we can say what we can reference here. What we can say is that other time frame buyers are buying from the local sellers. So this activity is OB buying from LS, because had there been other time frame sellers, the market would have moved down. Similarly, this particular thing is OS selling to LB. Okay, so here we can see that local sellers have bought too much from the other time frame buyers. Means buyers are other time frame buyers are buying from local sellers. Okay, and local sellers have sold too much of their inventory to the other time frame buyers. So this thing that 21 and 13 indicates LS is short of their inventory. Okay, that means LS is short of their inventory. LS, local sellers have sold too much to the other time frame buyers, so they want to now adjust the inventory. So first what they will do, they will stop selling to the other time frame buyers. So first is stop selling to other time frame buyers. So resulting to that, the into the value area market has moved up. Okay, now the inventory has adjusted. 21 is here, 22 is here. Still other time frame buyers are a bit more, but we can say the inventory is almost equal. So this is the first step did, that they have stopped selling to the other time frame buyer. So selling has stopped here and buying came into the picture. Now still if the other time frame buyer, other time frame seller do not come. So here they are looking for the OS. So local sellers are looking for the other time frame sellers because they have shorted too much. Okay, now they are looking for the other. Yeah, so local sellers are looking for the other time frame sellers. They have moved the price up to attract the local other time frame sellers. But still, if they do not come into the picture, they will move the price more higher so that they want to buy. They want to, you know, whatever the inventory they had too much short inventory, and still if other time frame sellers are not coming, even when the price is moving, the price will completely move up with the same logic which I gave you for the movie ticket one. So this is just the opposite of it. When the market moves up, so you can see at this particular point, the POC moves higher, and you can see again the 47 here, other time frame buyers are there, and this is other time frame. These are OB and these are OS. So still other time frame buyers are dominating the market and price has moved up. So when these things happen, you know that how the inventory is moving throughout the day, then you can know, okay, in KLNM session where the price has the higher chance of moving up. And this is a very, one of the very good strategy if you can master in it, to know the movement of the market before it happens. Means you can pre-capture it or you can prejudge it. So you are going to see the live market uh, example which is included in this video. So that is the one, and I'll be explaining that particular example again after the market is over. Like to take for the example, today date is 21/1/2021 and I'm talking about this live market chart. So you can see here the TPO count is greater on the upper side. We can see above the POC we have number of TPOs, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8 TPUs here, 9 plus 8, 17, plus 6 TPUs here, 23, plus 2, 25. And below the POC we have 6 TPUs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 TPUs here, 4 TPUs here, 11, and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18 TPUs below the POC and almost 27, 28 TPUs above the POC. We are not counting the single TPUs. So right now the inventory will be balanced. So there are more chances that market will come down, making the inventory balanced. If market could not come go up very recently, means in a short span of time, market should go upside so that this POC shifts upwards and the market is balanced. Otherwise, you can see there would be a downward movement which has more chances because, as I explained previously, the number of TPUs are greater than the POC from upside. So there is a pressure from the sellers here. Buyers are not able to take the market up. So there are more chances that market will go down and adjust the inventory. So this is right time around 1:54 p.m., 1:50 p.m. So we'll see how the day proceeds and where the market ends. So we will see at the end of the day, or most probably after 2 p.m. we can see a volatile movement downside from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. and we'll see how the day unfolds. So as you can see now, as I told you at this point, when the market was around 1473040, that it has to adjust the inventory. So you can see now that market has come down and it has come down to the low of the day. So if now we count the number of TPUs here, 3 TPUs here, 4 TPUs here, 7, 11, 5 TPUs here, 16, 4 TPUs here, 20, and 7 TPUs here, 27. We won't include the POC line. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 TPUs, 8 TPUs, 9, 8, 17, plus 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So we have 27 TPUs down and 25 TPUs up. So now the inventory is quite balanced compared to the previous thing which we were seeing. So this is the example I showed you into the live market. So still there are chances that market could completely go down. If it breaks the low, then today's the expiry also. So it may come down here testing the uh, filling the gap up that it did today, or it may rotate and finish somewhere around the POC only. So this is the concept of the market inventory I wanted to tell you. So as the days unfold, we will see how much more it can go down. So as I was talking about, that market could move further down and filling the gap, and exactly it has happened. So this I was showing you into the live market. So whatever the concepts, if you apply rigorously with full understanding, it's really very easy to make money. I'm not saying you can make millionaire, you can become millionaire, billionaire, but you can really trade for living. So you can see the market has traded way back to 14602, and at this particular time I was telling to you that okay, right now market could go down. Okay, sorry, I was not sharing the screen. So as I was telling you, at this particular point of time, there was a inventory mismatch, there was a selling pressure from the sellers, buyers were not able to take the market up. So at that particular point, if the market could not move further, the sellers have come into the picture, they moved the market to the lower side, and once it broke the low of the day, it completely filled the gap up and it moved further down. So this is the concept of TPO rotation, or size of the inventory, which I was talking about, I was explaining. So this is a live market, I shown you how the things work. So you can see the market has completely went down, it has tested the yesterday low even now. So okay, just let me share the screen first. Yeah, so you can see the market is about to close now. It's 3:14 p.m. So market has completely went down, filling the gap, then completely going down and testing the yesterday low as well. So this was the example of the inventory management, that how TPO rotation or number of TPOs can help you determine in which way the market is going to go in the last hour of the session. So this was the example, and hope you understood it. Thank you. So this was the example here. Okay, let me just clear all these things. So in the example, as you have seen, that at this particular point, when the market was moving, this area was dominating, that above POC was dominating. That means other time frame, who are these other time frame, buyers or sellers? Had there would have been other time frame buyers, market would have moved up. But these were the OS, other time frames sellers were dominating than other time frame buyers. And then you can see market moved down. It adjusted the inventory. First that it moved down to the low of it. And at this particular of time, at this particular point of time, it were looking for the other time frame buyers, whoever were the local sellers, they were looking for the other time frame buyers so that they can buy from it. Okay, but there were no other time frame buyers found, and market went down. Whatever the local sellers were there, here the local buyers who have bought it from the other time frame sellers, now they want to sell to the other time frame buyers. So they've turned into local sellers. So these local sellers were not able to find the other time frame buyers, and they moved the price downwards so that they can attract the other time frame buyers. Now this was, since it filled the gap down also, whatever it created. So initially the market was in imbalance state for the whole day. It could not find the balance, and when it broke it, so it broke the low of the today, then it broke the high of the today, and since it was the expiry day also, so more volatility was expected and market moved completely down. Even if you can see, it has moved to the low of the yesterday. So this was the lower point. It almost tested the low of the yesterday. And then there were some other time frame buyers would have come and they moved the market upside a bit. Okay, so they were able to, some type of retracement that was done at the end of the day. So this was the concept of TPO count. So you don't have to consider the POC line. Always consider the line, the number of TPOs above the POC and number of TPOs below the POC. Calculate them, and now I'm giving you the shorthand. Just the if you don't have to remember this other time frame sellers and buyer concept, just take the POC line, calculate the number of TPOs, POC from number of TPOs from here. Just let me take the drawing thing. Okay, so take the number of TPOs here and take the number of TPOs here, add them. So if the count of above is there, means above POC is greater than below POC, that means sellers are in control. This indicate sellers are greater than buyers, which are OS sellers and OS buyers, other time frame buyers. And if below POC is greater than above POC, then OB is greater than OS. This indicate market will move down, or always use market could move down, because there is nothing certain in the market. We only trade with the probability. So market could move down, and here market could move up. There are higher chances, the probability increases. So we all trade with the probability. If you don't apply any concept, you just take a trade here, there's a 50-50 probability that my share will go up or down. But you deal with the probability by using an indicator, any theory, any of your analysis that where the market could move down. So when the above POC count is greater than the below POC count, that means sellers are in control. Other time frame sellers are dominating the other time frame buyers. And so first is this, that means second is this, and third is this is the result. Market could move down when below POC count is greater than the above POC count. That means other time frame bias is greater than the other time frame sellers, and this means market could move up. So here is 1, 2, and this is the reference. And all these happens generally in KLM sessions. So like this, you can apply this theory and use it in your trading. So thanks a lot. I'll be coming with more videos. Thank you.